Friends, very good afternoon. Satkartar, Vairji ka Khalsa, Vairji ka Fateh, Namaskar, and Assalamu Alaikum. Welcome to the episode 64, Mēlā 64 of the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series. I'm going to be in conversation with Vidwān D. Balakrishna, who is an exponent of the Mysore school of Saraswati Veena, and he's joining me live from Bengaluru, India. The series, of course, as many of you know, is an extension of the World Music Heritage series that I started with my label Anād Records long time ago, but it's hardly a label. I mean, I've done some pioneering work, but I'm not a seller, it seems. But anyway, the work continues by way of my foundation, of course, and which is aimed at conserving the intangible heritage and tangible heritage of South Asia. Because it goes beyond the idea of political bounds. The cultural bound, the cultural expanse is something different, is a different idea. And we as conservators, as bearers of knowledge, belonging to traditions which are centuries old, sometimes thousands of years old, see with a bit of amusement, with a pinch of humor, if I may, and quite liberal at that. If I may borrow the expression from Dr. Anād Gopal Singh, the idea about a liberal pinch of salt, as he sometimes says. But this, we see the changing lines and bounds with some amusement. Culture doesn't get divided, air, water don't get divided, earth doesn't get divided, literally. Nevertheless, the idea of the Indic civilization, how the rag and tal and expression, that is the main focus. But of course, we see how artistic expression has evolved or has occurred around the globe, and how did a maestro in the Renaissance period say something or express musically or literally something. That is also our purview, to do a comparative study analysis and just to look at it, just to have a didar of that. So part of that is, of course, the Mysore school of music. And I'm very. It's really a personal pleasure to be in conversation with Vidwān D. Balakrishna, who is the son and disciple of the legendary Dr. Mysore V. Doreswamy Iyengar, one of the greatest exponents of the Mysore school of Veena. Vidwān Balakrishna began his training under his father from an early age, and was soon playing critically acclaimed solos and duets across India, Europe and the United States. Today he's been a top grade artist of the All India Radio, devoted teacher of Mysore Veena tradition, and recipient of many prestigious honors, including the Chintalapalli Parampara Trust Lifetime Achievement Award and the title of Parampara Pradheepanaacharya. It is a pleasure, really, Balakrishna ji. Welcome to the 64th Mēlā of the YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series.
I'm so glad, Bhai Baldeep Singh, to have met you and to be participating in this excellent online program.
Thank you so much. Nice. You're only kind. You're a banker. You're with the Reserve Bank of India, is it? But
I used to be. I have retired since the last 5 years.
You retired? You don't look so old.
Yeah, thank you. I'm not trying to grow old.
This is old. Look at this. My Nilami. My beard's almost all white, so people think I must be 90 years old.
Maybe.
How looks can fool, my looks fool people. Your lack of beard, your zero beard growth, no white hair, therefore, also fools people, isn't it?
Yeah. So nice, yeah.
That's wonderful. So it is really, for me, I've loved this instrument. As I have, in fact, when I was being a luthier, I've handcrafted the Hindustani rabab back to life among the taus and the saranda. I found out the last remaining luthier from Punjab who had made the taus and saranda and rabab until 1949. Gyani Harbhajan Singh was a World War II veteran. I discovered him in the winter of 91, 92. And then in 95, I handcrafted the first taus after 1949 and so on and so forth. So, and then the rabab, which I have also recovered, In fact, if I may, I'll show you how it goes. At the back, this is, I don't know if it will all come in. This is the rabab, you see?
Ah,
You see?
yeah, it looks like a sarod. I think the modern sarod, the
yes, sarod is the baby of this. But if you look at the Veena now, the Saraswati Veena, this is what it looks like. So what I discovered is that the Saraswati Veena is the fretted rabab of India. And that was very, very excitedly looked at by Vidwān Komal Kothari and Dr. Professor, Kamlesh Datta Tripathi and several other scholars, because the shape and everything, the idea of, the philosophy of the shape is the same. It's just that this is fretless. The Kamaicha in this part of the same research as the other day before yesterday, when I was in conversation with Anwar Khan Manganiar, he had a Kamaicha, and my work with Sakar Khan, Padma Shri awardee, one of the greatest legends of the 20th century to do with Kamaicha, his service in the field of Kamaicha and the classical music and the folk music of Rajasthan is legendary, will be remembered for times to come. When I was doing the work, I saw that the Kamaicha is dwarfed the Hindustani rabab, because the string length is not as long. The sooth length, when you pluck it, it dies down, down. But this one, for example, it is sooth. No. So the length, because it's double length, and then when I did a PowerPoint presentation on the instruments used in the Bhakti and the Gurbani traditions, it's about 13.5-hour long PowerPoint. I've shown it at some of the universities and so on and so forth. I analyzed how the fret length, when it shortens, bows came into being, because to increase the length of that. So the plucked instruments, where they were only plucked when they had a considerable length of the string, so that the sooth element, the alankara sooth, the thread, is long enough to down before the first strike, the next strike. So that is how they came. And so for me, I have a very intimate relationship with the Saraswati Veena, being the fretted rabab of India.
The sound sustains longer.
Yes. Yeah.
With one pluck, you can sustain the sound longer.
Exactly. Yeah. So originally, this is not rabab. This is actually the Rudra Veena. This is actually the Rudra Veena played by Tansen and others. Rabab being the Persian name, like Panjnad became Punjab, when Persian and other languages came. So the other original name is Rudra Veena, is this rabab. Then the other Veena, which the elders like Dabir Khan, Ustad Dabir Khan, Ustad Sadiq Ali Khan, Sad Ali Khan, and then it was modified closer to the Saraswati by Ustad Zia Mohiuddin Dagar and my very dear friend Bahuddin, and you've also done duets with him. He's incredible. He's such a beautiful man. And so these were other Veenas, but now they call it a Rudra Veena, but it's just Veena. Rudra Veena was this rabab, which is the Hindustani rabab. So the name is associated with Sanskrit is generic term for a Veena, which can be an instrument of any shape, any size, any number of strings. Then from Ik-tantri Veena, Dvitantri, Tritantri, Chaturtantri Veena, and so on and so forth, the names began evolving. Then some have a Chintu Veena, Pintu Veena, Tinku Veena, and then some maestro comes. They took some or Kinnari Veena if they were associated with certain traditions and so on and so forth. But for me, I have admired the instrument that is in your hands, and I'm looking forward to learning more about the instrument and, of course, the Mysore tradition, which your ancestors have so beautifully served.
Yeah. And the chief exponent of the Mysore school was the legendary Veena Sheshana. And he was born around 1850. And he passed away in the year 1926. And his ancestors were great musicians, and there is one Varnam in the Rag Bhairavi, that is the Carnatic Bhairavi, and that was composed by one Adi Appaya, and Sheshana belongs to his family. He belongs to the family of Adi Appaya, who composed the magnum opus in Bhairavi, Viriboni. The Varnam.
How does it go? How does it go? I'm greedy. It'll have to be musical storytelling.
Yeah, it's a beautiful. I can show you some four cycles, 4 avartas. I'll show you.
Oh, you can show it all. I am here.
This is in Attatala. Each cycle of this tala has 14 beats.
I see.
Yeah, 14 beats. Huh?
क्या बात है वाह 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 वाह
This is the
Fantastic.
my father used to say, if one has to get an idea how to play Bhairavi, he has to practice this Varnam.
Such an important one. Yes, it's like a tika. In our tradition, Gurbani Singh, we call raga tikas, like the encyclopedia of a raga. There were a few written by the elders like Baba Surpat Singh and Baba Gurmukh Singh about 250, 300 years ago. And they were like Malkons and the ragas like that. They are all four structure, four parts. And I've shared some of them with Professor Ramanath and Professor Sarjan Kiraman. They were surprised and I was surprised about some of these compositions, which are also given the same status as comprehensive an idea of a raga.
Yeah. And Bhairavi itself is a very, very, very ancient raga, and the main aspect of the beauty is in the Shuddha Daivata, or what you call in Hindustani music the Komal Daivata. Only when you go to the higher sa, you touch the Tivra Daiva.
Yes.
This is the Chatushruti Daivata. Yeah. Otherwise, normally, if you want to be in the Rigama Padapa, you have to play Shuddha Daivata only. That Shuddha Daivata lends dignity to the raga.
That's fantastic. So this is quite formidable. What a beautiful composition. And tell me about the composer. What else did he think about? I mean, this was the only Varnam that he wrote, or?
We have no information, I think. At least I have not come across. Adi Appaya is associated with the Viriboni Varnam.
Uh-huh.
What he was too long back in history that we have not heard much about him,
I see.
much about his other compositions.
I see. And this is the only one that remains from his work?
Yeah.
Wow. That's
I think
amazing.
I think we should consult somebody like Ramanathan.
Yes.
Ramanathan, they are more into this.
They're into research. Yeah, this is their forte. But that's amazing. It reminds me of my granduncle when he passed on the responsibility of the Parampara, especially the Pakhavaj one, the percussion. He said, "Oh, this is a blessing I'm going to give you. Vado prapuso lambarchuso birdika sakas damak down." I said, "But what is this?" He said, this is a language which died 250 years ago. I said, "Wow." I mean, I was like amazed by the idea coming from aviation and being, awestruck by this grand man born in 1900. And it was 94 that he was telling me this. And he said, "Well, what is this?" He says, "A language that died 250 years ago, but this is the only thing that remains of the language." I said, "Oh, what is this?" He said, "It's a blessing." Imagine, a language that has died, the only thing that remained is a blessing. Everything else died. And it's a blessing, really, if that is the composition that you remember from him. It's quite a blessing. It's a blessing to even know this, isn't it? And tell me about your dad, the one and only Padma Bhushan Mysore V. Iyengar.
And
what was it like? Is it like terrible to be a stalwart son?
Yeah, it is so very challenging. I learned so much from him, and at the same time to make a mark when he is there active, and when he is there playing, when he is all pervading. It was very difficult for me to make a mark as a concert artist. It was so very difficult, I tell you. And people will always look forward to listening to him, unless you can overtake. And I was not blessed to overtake him.
It's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? We are so blessed. I mean, in my family too, my granduncles. I mean, it's Bhai Baldeep Singh, by Gurcharan Singh. The way they live, and their father. Then they had a difficult time because of their illustrious father, the legendary Baba Jwala Singh. So that's why I asked you, because I'm versed with the idea of being a child of greats. It's never enough.
Exactly. Nobody can understand our pain. And to establish your own identity, it's very difficult.
It's next to impossible, actually, and also because we grow up in an etiquette, we are their admirer number one, we are the grand admirers of our teachers who happen to be our elders, and there is no intent of challenging them or beating them. There's no idea of practicing to beat them. We're just so awed by the enormity that they show us, the threshold they open, the horizons they open for us. It's a blessing and on a naughty note, a curse at the same time.
You put it well. And he was a natural Veena player. Not all can get it. Like all the legendary artists of the 20th century, they are all highly gifted and they're highly motivated also because of their gift. And they were forever playing the Veena and whatever instruments, singing, the real greats of the last century, they knew only to sing and play. They were not interested in other aspects of life, and I tell you, seriously. My father had never been to a market to buy vegetables. He had never been.
I see.
He used to have a cup of coffee in the morning and read the Hindu, the paper from Madras. You must be knowing Ram also,
yes.
Ram and president of the Music Academy. So he's the Hindu. He used to read Hindu for about 15 minutes and he used to sit for practice. And it used to go up to 11:30 in the morning.
I see.
Unless my mother used to come and tell him it's getting late and he has been hungry for so long, and he should take his bath and have his breakfast.
I see.
So about 3 to 4 hours of playing in the morning. And after lunch in the afternoon, he used to have a short nap for about half an hour, and then have coffee and again practice. And he would take a walk around 5:36 in the evening and come back, again play until my mother called him for dinner. He used to have his dinner and again start playing. God knows up to what time he used to play.
I see.
It used to go beyond 12, and that was his lifestyle.
I see. I'm just showing the photo to everyone of your dad right now, the one that you sent me that I edited. I'm just showing him, and really, thank you for sharing this. And it's his centenary year this year, isn't it? He was 1920 born.
Exactly.
Like the teacher I studied with in making instruments. He was also 1920. So these are both centenaries, and the legendary poet Dr. Harbhajan Singh was also born now, and just one Singh Kanwal, another writer. So there are few centenaries we're celebrating, and that's why I thought we should. Well, I would have spoken about him in any case, but I thought I'll share. I'm sharing the photo now of your dad that you so kindly shared, and I edited that. Yes, you were saying.
And he learned from my grandfather for a few years in the initial stages. He was Venkatesha Iyengar, and he was a court musician in the Krishnaraja Vadayar's court in Mysore. The Krishnaraja Vadayar the fourth.
I see.
So he was a court musician there, and my father learned from him. And later, his skills got honed, and he received rigorous training from one legendary Veena player of Mysore. His name was Venkatagiriyappa. And Venkatagiriyappa was he had learned directly from the legendary Veena Sheshana.
I see.
Yeah, and my father learnt a lot from Venkatagiriyappa. He had been given the title Vainika Praveena by the Maharaja of Mysore. He was Vainika Praveena Venkatagiriyappa. So by the age of 7, after learning the few early lessons in music, my father went to Venkatagiriyappa.
Wow.
And he taught him for nearly 8 to 9 years continuously. And no day off. Every day my father has to go there, play there. And he was a great teacher. And he trained a lot of aspiring youngsters those days. And as you know, they never charged.
No.
They went on giving. And Venkatagiriyappa in particular was a very generous man, and he taught with all his students with motherly affection. He went on giving him, went on teaching him, went on correcting him, went on encouraging, and went on scolding him also in the initial stages.
Of course.
Why do you want one extra plucking? He used to make fun of him. Why do you go on doing like this?
I see.
It should be used very wisely, and your quality, the quality of the meetu. This is called the plucking. Is called the meetu. The quality of the meetu should improve. It should improve. It is very harsh, very harsh. He went on start telling him. But my father, by the age of, I think, when he was 15 or 16, he had won the heart of his guru.
I see. That's beautiful.
They were all great masters. Venkatagiriyappa and the legendary Veena Sheshana. They were the Mysore style emphasizes on the quality of the meetu, and they play with the natural nails.
Oh, these are natural nails?
Natural.
No, you're lying.
Natural.
I see.
Only when it breaks, I use the steel nails.
I see.
So you have a lot of control in your metu and very, very, very soft, velvety touch.
Yes, because
like,
this is for me a revelation. I did not know this, because the rabab, the way because I'm recovering the pedagogy, playing technique, because I only heard from my elders. It's also played with bare nails, the actual plucking. Before the jeel, the oldest style was bare nails, only nails. And so for me, this is very, very important. This is the find of the day for me. That's one.
Unless it breaks, my father used to play with his natural nails only. Mm-hmm. Only when it broke, he used to use this contraption.
Yeah, just practice that. I see. And tell me about your father's first teacher, that's your grandfather. Did you get a chance to learn from your dad what his father taught?
You want to know about my grandfather?
Yes, the first 7 years when before he went to the Vedika Praveen.
I tell you.
Did you get a chance to hear about his dad?
Yeah, my grandfather has told me about my father.
I see.
He has told me. And when my father was 4, I think, in 1924, the Belagaum Congress was held in Mysore. Mm. The Congress party met in Belagaum, in Karnataka, North Karnataka, Belagaum. And the Maharaja had sent the music party to the people of to give a cultural program in Belagaum.
I see.
So while returning from there, my what do you call that mouth organ? That
yes,
instrument.
Mouth organ, yeah.
He brought one from there and he gave it to my father, I believe. And my father instantly started playing on that. And maybe that was the time around which my grandfather discovered that my father had a flair for music. And he started teaching him when he was hardly 4. And by 7, he had learnt a few songs also. And my grandfather was a very, very strict taskmaster. He is a great, very tough taskmaster. And my father used to tell me, actually his metus were smoother than his own metu.
I see.
It was so silky.
I see.
One could never, the point of contact, you never heard the tuck tuck sound, you never heard, he used to tell me. And Venkatagiriyappa asked my grandfather one day, what is your boy doing?
I see.
And, it seems my grandfather told him, he sings actually, and I have to teach him Veena also, and he plays some rudimentary, the elementary lessons. And he is more interested in playing marbles and always into games. Okay, bring him some time, he said. So at the very earliest opportunity, my grandfather took my father there, and he asked him, "Come on, play the Veena," he said. And my father could easily play. So from then on, immediately Venkatagiriyappa said, "Okay, let him come every day."
I see.
And that's how it started.
That's beautiful.
And my grandfather was extremely happy. He was so proud of my father, and he used to tell. And when I myself tried my hand at the Veena, he used to always tell me, you should be like your father.
I see.
One day you should surpass, and you should overtake, and you should make a great name like that.
I see. That's fantastic. So tell me about, do you remember the songs that your father learned first from your grandfather? Did your grandfather tell you about that?
No. I don't remember.
You don't remember that?
Most of the, usually.
What's your estimate? What would it have been in the very beginning? What would he have been taught?
Maybe they always taught more of the Trinity compositions like Tyagaraja. Most of it was Tyagaraja.
I see.
See, because the quality of Tyagaraja's compositions, even a child can play and sing, and even a Vidwān can play and sing. Wow. That is the quality of Tyagaraja's compositions. And maybe my father had been taught maybe hundreds of the Tyagaraja compositions.
I see.
Like, I can just demonstrate.
Yeah, that'll be fantastic. Yeah.
This is a very popular composition in the rag Saraswati Manohari.
I see.
And set to Aditala. Enta vedukondu O Raghava. Raghava, how much should I plead? How much should I plead?
So this
As
is some.
you know, you might be.
Yes, go ahead. Finish. I'll ask later.
Yeah, he went on pleading, and Tyagaraja, he enjoyed a very emotional relationship with the Saint Mandir, with the Lord Rama. Hundreds of compositions, not one resembling the other.
Really?
And it is so simple, and even Vidwāns can improvise. There is scope for improvisation also, and he has composed it in such a way. And even a boy or girl of 7 years can sing this. It is so simple, disarmingly simple, and the song disarms you. So these types of songs, I think he was taught when he was younger. And later on, they must have moved to Shama Shastri and Muthuswamy Dikshita.
I see.
Their compositions were for the more experienced students who had learned. They always began with Tyagaraja.
Can you tell us some of the Tyagaraja kritis that you're mentioning, that they were of, there was a variety, compositions, one other than the other. Would you share with us some that your father played, and of course, some memories that you have of some compositions which he spoke about, of what he liked, like a jeweler if he evaluated some. Share with us some anecdotes if you can.
There is one particular composition of Tyagaraja in the Raga Salaga Bhairavi. It is called Salaga Bhairavi, and it's a very, very elegant raga. And he heard it for the first time in the palace when the legendary Karaikudi brothers. You must have heard about them. Karaikudi Subrahma Bhagavatar and Karaikudi Sambashiva Iyengar. They were great Veena players of the 20th century, and they played for the Maharaja in around the year 1935 or 1934. And they played this Tyagaraja composition, and the Maharaja wanted the palace artists of Mysore to learn this composition. So my father's guru and my father met them and wrote the song.
I see.
This is Padavini Sadbhakti. This is the Ram song. Padavini Sadbhakti Yugalgute Padavini Sadbhakti Yugalgute Padavini. And the pace, the tempo is very tantalizing. It is neither too fast nor too slow. I'll show you. The Arohan and Avarohan. I think this is similar to Rag Sindhura.
Yes. Yes. Sindhura is there. Yes. Yeah. We sing that.
Hindustan.
We sing that. Yeah. Wow. Just fantastic.
This is one variety.
Just fantastic.
And come to think of Tyagaraja, he has composed several compositions in a raga.
I see.
And not one resembling the other.
Can we do this exercise? Can we just pick one raga, as I do in my, when I'm also sharing like Shuddhkana, but rare ragas, I, tell about how the compositions do. It'll be great if you can give us illustration. Just pick one raga and give us a few illustrations of compositions in the what Tyagaraja ji did. Would be so very great.
I'll show you. I'll take, for example, Raga Harikambodi.
Okay.
And it is the 28th Raga in the 72 Melakartas of Carnatic music. There are 72 Melakarta Ragas. And this is the 28th.
I see. For example, is it something like how in the Gurbani tradition at the Golden Temple, now what is called Golden Darbar Sahib as we used to call it, it would be a 3 or 4 hour long sitting by one maestro, and in the beginning, they would begin with low, so the first compositions would be after the Mangalacharan and everything. So Bir Saranga So the sum would be like Mandra Saptak. Then later on, after about this composition, then the second composition would be around Maki Ram Ki Tu Maki Maki. So the rhythm is very similar. As you see, the ancient Gurbani tradition does not give the zarb on every beat. It is on the meaning of the akshara. It's very unique than the other Dhrupa traditions of North India. Normally they would say ma. They don't sing this composition, but if they were to sing it, ma ki, they're stressing every beat. This one is ma ki Ram ki tu ma ki ma. So after the Mandra Saptak, Mahavir, this comes, then it could be something like Jab Man Sri Ram, Pancham Swari, 15 beats. This is like late 16th century by the 5th Guru. Jab Man Sri Ram, Ram Ramat Ram. Jab Man Sri Ram, Ram Ramat Ram. Sad Sad Ram, Bolo Bhaiya Sad Ram, Ram Ram Rab Raya Sarab Ge. jab man siri. So this would be like towards the middle of the entire concert where the pancham is coming up. Or then it would be going towards the higher end. As he hoye pari, as he hoye pari, va, or हमारे साथ 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 हर. So that would be towards the end. Mahavir Kahari, Mahavir Kahari, Hari Ma. The pakhavas would be ringing, nagaras would be played, your nagara compositions. So this was how when I analyzed the ancient repertoire, I was able to see the journey, how they would be evolving from, like how the 3 hours or 2 hours would be in one raga. That's how, because people said, oh, there's so many compositions, what will they use? But I argued that they are not dispensable. They were like the idea of monotony is being broken, is being shredded, is the same raga. The pada is changing, and then the pada would be, if they chose, let's say, talking to the mind, then the whole concert would be talking to the mind. And then the emancipation. If they chose, let's say, about the Ramat Ram, the entire concert would be about the one who's omniscient, the Ramayya Ram. Likewise, if they're talking about Kama or Krodha, the entire concert that day would be talking about dismantling the idea of ego. So, the reason, before you share with us the variety, do you find something like this, in the sense the utilization and the theme, the context, the theme as such in the performance, in the hands of your father or his teachers?
My father used to explain how one has to learn the compositions before playing the raga improvisation.
That's wonderful. Similar.
Yes. And the one which you sang, is it Sarang family or
Vrindavani Sarang. Yes.
Yeah. It's beautiful. You got a good voice.
Oh, I don't sleep with this YaarAnād Baithak series. I'm like logging about 20-21 hours a day. So my voice hates me right now for torturing it. Yes. But thank you. Thank you so much. So, yes, you were telling about the illustrations and compositions. Yes.
Take, for example, the Rag Harikambodhi.
Yes.
I was telling. And he has composed so many songs. And if you learn these songs, you will be able to improvise. You will learn improvisation.
Yes.
Get beautiful ideas. And I'll show you the Raga. I'll show you how he has composed different compositions in Rag Harikambodhi itself.
Did he also say something? Because I'm, one of the logic that my granduncle, Bhai Baldeep, the younger granduncle of mine, we lost him in 2006. He was 1927 born. He's my younger granduncles. He used to say that to understand a raga, you need to know many compositions too, because a raga cannot just be. Is it something similar what your dad passed on? Similar thought?
Exactly.
I see.
And if I tried playing raga when I was young, he used to tell me, "Oh, come on, don't show off. Learn the composition. Play the composition 100."
He also said that. This is my great granduncle. I mean, all my students. My Baba Jwala Singh, the legendary Baba Jwala Singh, he said, after you have learned the Shabad, the Pada, memorize it, and you've gotten the stamp that from the teacher, yes, you got it right, he says, then sing it 100 times. You will never forget it. It will be part of your DNA. My goodness.
It should be like your second nature. Yeah. Second nature. Like that.
Wow.
And Ramananu Brovara Raman.
What a Gandhara.
Rama, no brother. Rama, why don't you come and protect me? Why don't you protect me? Rama. This is one composition.
And the Gandhar is called, my elders would say, it is the Ashirvadatmak Swara, that you pray at the Gandhar and you receive the boon at the Gandhara. Is that similar too?
Yeah, Antargandhara is very important.
Yeah.
And there is no gamak meaned in Gandhara, Antargandhara. Antargandhara is always a straight note.
Yes. It's the Bij Rupa and it just lives.
Yeah. Very rarely you show gamak.
Yes.
So see, this is Ramananu Brovara, and
If I may, there's a structure where the idea of the Gandhara, Mohanani Nidana Ava Har Kajar Vasara Kine Har Kajar Vasara. It's the idea of ego that I have decorated, but when are you coming? When are you coming? It's a desperation. But the Gandhar, all the Gamak and Lehek, this is again late 16th century by Guru Arjan. The idea of ego, but Gandhar is where I'm waiting. I'm waiting, everything. When will the beloved come? When will the Parampara Pradheepanaacharya come and wed me away? I'm ready as a bride is. I'm all ornate with all the virtues. So that's the Gandhara.
that is
Yes, a fantastic swara. Yeah.
how beautifully it brings the Gandhar brings the bhava of the poet had in mind. That Gandhar brings, and I'll speak about those swaras later.
I see.
And, see how much of variety Tyagaraja is given. So this is Ramananu Brovara. The one more song. It starts from Pa. Unde dira modo kodu o manasa unde dira modo kodu. There is only one Rama.
Kya baat.
He says. And in Tintad,
The Pancham is so definitive. The Pancham is so definitive that there's only one, none other. That's the idea with the swaras. Yes, there's a symbiosis, the mutualism of the swara. Yes.
Exactly. And this is in Rupak Tad, three beats. And not to be confused with the Rupak Tad of Hindustan.
Yeah.
This is the Carnatic Rupak Tala. And Tintad he has composed some 8 to 10 songs. I can say there is one in the same Harikambodi. Yenduku nirdaya yenduku nirdaya yevaru nanu raya yenduku nirdaya. See, it is so different from Ramananu Brovara and Unde the Ramudu. The first two I showed you, and this is Yenduku Nirdaya. Here he is asking, why absence of compassion? Why are you so cruel? Yenduku Nirdaya. Evarunaru, who else is there to protect me? Who else is there? Evarunaru. Yenduku Nirdaya.
Yes. It's quite the argumentative that who else is there. It's very, and the Dhevata comes in Tivra. Very, very bingo. It's like, what a...
You said it. I always tell Tyagaraja had a very, he enjoyed, he took the liberty of informal relationship with Rama.
It reminds me of Bhagat Ravidas. Bhagat Ravidas says, I'm sorry to interrupt, but please continue.
And he used to fight, he argued, and he pleaded, and he made fun of him. And sometimes he used to say, because of Janaki, you got name. You became famous because of...
I didn't want to see that. I was about to share with you Bhagat Ravidas. He says in the Shri Raga, the Kafi Mēlā, it's also sung in the Purvi Mēlā. Tohi mohi, mohi tohi, tohi mohi, mohi tohi antar kasa kanek katek jaltarong gajasa कि तो ही मोही मोही तो ही अंतर कैसा in you and me and you, what's the difference? तो ही मोही तो ही अंतर कैसा कणे का काटे का जल तरंग जैसा, like the gold and the ornament made of gold and the water and the wave in the water, that's the difference, he says. He gives an answer, and then the first stanza he says, "Jao pe hum na paap karanta, ahe ananta, oh the endless one, jao pe." If I hadn't committed crimes and sins, jao pe hum na paap karanta, ahe ananta, patit pavan naam kaise hunta? How would you have gotten the name called forgiver of sins? If I committed sins, you got the name. It's very similar. That's why I said it sounds very, very similar to Bhagat Ravidas.
They were all similar. They were all the great.
All bhakti, yeah, they're all bhagats, yeah.
So Tyagaraja has composed maybe so many songs in Harikambodhi, and all the Vidwāns of the past, the yesteryears, they used to say the Raga Harikambodhi was just a Mēlā. It was just a scale.
I see.
It was just a scale, and Tyagaraja made it a raga.
Wow, I see. And what else you were mentioning? Yes, go ahead. Yeah.
And for a take Raga Karara Priya, so many songs he has composed, lot of variety. Raga Karara Priya is like your Hindustani Kafi.
Yes.
And Samanam Evaru, who is equal to you?
Yeah.
Again, he is asking, he is praising Rama. Samanam Evaru, Ni Samanam Evaru, Ramani Samanam Evaru, Ramani Samanam Evaru. And Chakani Raja. This is another composition. Chakani Raja Margam Daga. when there is the great, when there is a highway to reach God, why do you take the by-lanes? Why do you take the smaller shortcuts? He meant figuratively. Chekkani Raja Margamu. Also, it is in Adi Thad.
And like if I may, in terms of from an academic perspective, if you can also illustrate at least one tana of the antara, so that when we're looking at the differences, it'll in one go, I'll be able to look at the variety in terms of the asthai bhava, and also the antara bhava, if I may, if it's not too much of an ask, would be great just to have a little illustration of that as well. Yeah. I know antaras mostly will go the same, but still the tala changes and the swagger changes in a way. That would be of very much, a lot of interest for me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you one more composition.
Please.
I spoke about the Ramani Samanamero. We will take up Bakkala Nilabadi in the Mishra Chaputala, 7 chords.
I see.
Like the Rupak in Hindustani, Rupak Tal. This is the Pallavi. And the Antara, you asked for Anupallavi.
Yeah.
Actually.
Wow.
I came back to Pallavi. I mean, now the second stanza or the Charana. Charana, the very end of the. Tanu muche vandana, tanu muche vandana, monari chuchu nara.
It's very similar to the Sanchari and the Abhog. The third part was where is the when I analyzed, Professor S.K. Saxena and others were sort of very pleasantly surprised when I shared that with something which doesn't exist in the Hindustani Sangeet because they're more eology based, rupas which remain. Whereas in the Guruvani, it is more, it's a business transaction. It's like Tyagaraja's transaction. He says, okay, if you don't do this, thank you very much. Like Bhagat Dhanna, he says, I am not going to meditate unto you, Bhukhya Bhagatana ki jai, he says. I am not going to meditate unto you with an empty stomach. Le mala apni lije. Take your rosary bead. I'm not interested in your worship if I am to be hungry. So it's this Bhagat, one of the great saints, Dhanna, he was a Jat, he was a farmer. So it's very transactional. He says, I will meditate, but I want to be wed in the end. I want to be ornate as a spiritual bride. I want to be enlightened. I want to be awakened. I'm not just interested in only worshipping you. So it's transactional. So the third part, which is the Sanchari, it is usually when Gyan is given, knowledge is given. So the first Asthai is where the plot is, like if I'm in pain, I'm in Vairagya, or please, I'm in trouble, help me out, I'm in need, etc. Whatever it may be, the Majmoon, as we say, the context may be, the first, the Asthai, and the stanza would be a supplication of that. Or if it is pure Gyan, it would be a Drishtant. But the third part would always have knowledge. It is a remedy. And that is a Sanchari, the third Tan, so Asthai and the Antara. And what next? Because you've already showed the middle octave and how do you enter the higher octave? That the third part was the Sanchar, is the irrigation as if the fertile. What next? Where the knowledge is occurring. And the Abhog, at the end is the supplication where the fruition, what benefit has been gained, is said by the author in the end. Is it something similar?
Yeah, similar. It's so logical. Even the music is logical.
Yes.
And the content, the words, what they mean are logically constructed. Very logical.
Absolutely.
And Tyagaraja, for him, Lord Rama was real. It was not something, it was not Ram was not an idea.
Yeah.
It was an actual, it was real for him.
Fantastic.
So Tyagaraja is venerated by all the musicians for the variety and ragas like Todi. And I have myself learned about 5 to 6 songs I can play. And he must have composed around 20 to 30 songs in the same raga.
I see. Are you worked in the Reserve Bank of India, is it?
Yes.
Have you become a miser like they are? If not, then let's have all of the toadies now.
I can show you some of the. I'll show you the raga for a while and some of the composition.
That will be fantastic. Ji.
But now for the beginning benefit of the people who may not be knowing the scale, I'm just demonstrating.
Please, that's very important. Yes.
This is the scale. This is Todi, and I'll show some Tanam. It is ideally suited for Veena.
I see.
It is Ragam in middle tempo.
I see.
You can that's how one can understand the concept of Tanam.
Very similar to the North Indian Bhairavi in a way.
Nomtam.
Yeah, yeah.
Nomtam.
Uh-huh.
Okay, are you hearing?
Yeah. Fantastic. Yeah.
And this is how Tanam is played on the Veena. The Ragam, of course, we learn from the compositions. They are the benchmarks, they are the textbook for us. And if we stop playing the compositions, we would have lost the ragas.
That's what the ragas do. The compositions do. They are where the raga lives. In different forms and different shapes.
And this, again, Tyagaraja has composed more than 30 songs.
Yes, you mentioned, yeah. Let's, if you can kindly share some illustrations, yeah, some compositions.
Dasharati ni runamudirpana. How can I repay? Dasharati is Rama. Rama, how can I repay? You made me famous.
I see.
Durdesh, distant places. You made my name shine. You made me famous. How can I ever repay thee? How can I ever thank you enough for this? Dasharati ni runamu dirpana. Anupallavi. Antara. Okay. Challa.
Wow, wow, wow.
They're very, again, great raga for Carnatic musicians. There is a lot of scope.
Oh, are you saying that we, the northern Indians, shouldn't be playing it?
Why not?
So you said it's great. No, I'm just teasing you. You said it's great for the Carnatic musicians, as if you're forbidding us to play it.
No. Something like it is like something like your Darbari. Darbari is held in high esteem. It's called the Raga of King.
No, not really. That's the Shri Raga. Shri Raga is the Raga of Ragas. Raga is like the flower among the flowers is lotus. The bird among the birds is a Hansa. Raga among ragas is Shri Raga. Yeah. Darbari is one in the court of Akbar, was favorite of Tansen. But the Kannada that we sing in Gurbani, in the old is the Shuddha Kannada. Darbari is a smaller raga for us. Yeah.
That's I thought I usually get my knowledge from the sleeve notes on the cassettes, and
I see. Yeah, there's a lot of glory written of many things. Every, as I'm reminded of Ustad Faimuddin Khan of the Dagurwani, he used to always tell a joke or a story basically. He says that there were 4 or 5 kids. It was actually something told by his father, Ustad Alabad Rahimuddin Khan of the Dagurwani. He said, there were 4 or 5 kids and they were playing marbles. Like your grandfather would accuse your father of playing when he was little. So there were about 4 or 5 kids who were playing marbles under the tree. And the game was this little hole down there and they were all trying to strike it. One kid says, while playing, he says, my father is the most beautiful man in the world. So when he plays, conscious play. And there's silence, they're playing. 3, 4, 5 minutes later, it dawns upon like a late revelation, late digestion. His friend says, why is your father the most handsome man in the world? How come? And he plays. And then there is silence again. And he says, because my father has very big eyes. So then about 5, 6 minutes they go on playing. Then the third friend says, then my father is more handsome than your father. And they all go playing. He says, but how come? How can you say that? He says, because my father has bigger eyes than yours, your father's. So now then soon after the 4th friend says, well playing, then my father is the most handsome man and the most beautiful man in the world. He says, how can you say that? Now they're slowly turning into a quarrel. How can you say that? He says, well, because my father's eyes are bigger than even your father's eyes. So my father is the most handsome man and the most beautiful man in the world. Then the 5th one says, then my father is the most beautiful man in the world. They all 4 of them say, how dare you say that? How can you say that? Because my father's eyes are as big as that of a bull. Bull's eyes, that is ugly. But the parameter changes. So on the sleeve notes, everybody says, my teacher is the greatest, my tradition is the greatest. They forget, and within that, the idea of rag and nad, the advent of music, suddenly the parameters, context is changed, so subjectively.
And you said Shri, you mentioned
Shri Raga. This, culturally and traditionally, in the ancient texts also, Shri Raga is considered the Raga of Ragas.
Yeah, would you please show the contours of the raga? Can you sing it?
There are, until about 200, 250 years ago, it was sung in the Kafi Mēlā, and then since 200, 250 years, it has been sung in the Purvi Mēlā. But it was, of course, any raga, ancient raga was played in multiple Mēlas. Multiple angas, like so the ancient one is my voice is really dead, but just giving Garmare nizare mabani sare gare. This is the Kafi Mēlā. And the composition, which, I mean, it's rarely sung in my family. It's, I think, one of the rare ones or last remaining who have compositions in this. Sauchane ram kare nej thai. Sauchane ram kare nej thai. It goes like this. And the one that I sang, Toi mohi mohi toi antare kaisa, is also Sri Raga in the old. But then now it is sung This is the Purvi Mēlā Sri Raga.
This is the one I have heard from
I see.
the maestro Amjad Khan plays
Yes.
Shri.
Yeah. He emphasizes a little bit more on the Komal and the Tivra Nikhad. I've heard when he got the Akadmi Ratna, he played, and I was a little surprised by the little emphasis on the Tivra Nikhad in the Mandar Saptak, which was interesting for me. Unusual, actually.
So he used the same, the Shri,
Yes.
he plays has the same stars. The second
Yes,
one.
the second one, yes. But that is only 200, 250 years. Before that, the Shris of the Kafi Mēlā. Only the oldest of the traditions remember that.
Okay,
And I think
okay.
with my conversations with Professor S.R. Janaki Raman and Professor Ramanathan, they also said that in the Sri Rag in the south is also sung in the Kafi Mēlā. It is.
Kafi Mēlā, exactly.
Yes.
And the later version, the second version is something like our, there is one raga called Gaudi Pantu.
I see.
And
That's Gaudi. In Gurbani we have 11 Gaudis, 11 versions of Gaudi. Adhir Gharbaso Hari is the Bhairav Mēlā, the first one, the Mēlā. Bhari Jan Pyare Thir Gharbaso Hari, the fifth Guru, late 16th century. Hari Jan Pyare Satgur Tumari Kaj Savari Bal Dus Dut Parmesar Mare Janaki Paj Rakhi Kartare. So this one goes with the Azaure Mawbai Zani Zare Magare Zani Zare Mabare Magare Zav Nizare Sare Mabada Magare Sare Mabani. So Mabani Zare Zani Daba Mabani Dabare Magare Zani Zare. Pure Gaudi for us.
that's a beautiful rag, beautiful rag.
It's
And
very moving, yeah.
we play here the first madhyam. In Tamil Nadu, the same raga Gaudi Pantu is played with Prati Madhyam.
With the Tivra Madhyam, what we call Tivra. Yeah.
Tivra
So we have, okay. Achha, so interesting. So this one does use the third Gandhara. In the Purvi Mēlā Gaudi, we have two main Gaudis. In the Purvi Mēlā, this was the Bhairav Mēlā. In the Purvi Mēlā, we do not use Gandhar at all. So there's an ancient, again of Guru Arjan's composition. So signature of the Gaudi. This is the signature of Gaudi for us. Rama Mare Madhava Mare Mani Dava Mare Mani Dava Re Re so something like that, and the composition is Aja Kavita Sajan Hasamiya Tes Jana Kaho Ki Jao ki preet Govind syolagi Jao ki preet Govind syolagi Brahmata Kavagi Kavi. So I think it is to prevent it from becoming Purvi or being like Shri and others, that the Gandhar is plucked out, it's not touched. This is the second pure version of Gaudi, of the Purvi Mēlā, that's the Bhairav Mēlā. Anirma Parema Gere Zanirma Panida Pare Mavani Zan Rezani Dava Mavani Dava Magere Zan. This is how the Bhairav Mēlā goes.
This is the Shri of the later period.
No,
Shri.
This is the, I'm talking Gaudis. This is the Gaudi. Both are Gaudis.
But this is very similar to Shri.
Shri is, yes, the Pare is there, but it's the Bhairav Mēlā. So, Hare Ma Pare Gare Zao Pai Zao Re Re Ma Pa Ma Da Ma Gare. So, Re is different. Pa Ma Da Ma Gare Zao Re Pa Ma Ni Re Ni Da Pa Re Gare Pa Re Zao. This is one. The Bhairav of Gaudi is sharper. The Bhairav Mēlā is sharper Rikhab of the Gaudi. So but the Rikhab is higher than the Shri of the Purvi Mēlā is flatter than the Ati Sakari or Ati Komal is the Rikhab, as we call it.
The difference is so subtle.
Yes, it's very subtle. Yeah.
There is a beautiful rag.
So, but this is beautiful for me to see the Gaudi, the signature is the same when you mentioned the variant of Gaudi that you did. I was very moved by that when you just played the Gaudi. If you can, that was fantastic.
We don't play the raga in detail here.
I see.
Some of the ragas
are small.
Only the composition.
Only the composition. Yes, composition. We have many. We have many too like that. Yeah, we have many. Yeah.
And we always play the compositions.
I see. And this is yes. Please continue.
This is Gaudi Bantu as we play in here the Mysore style with Komal Madhyam.
So the jump from Dhavat to the Madhyam is there. So that's very similar, yeah, exactly the same.
Teradiya Karada by Tyagaraja.
Wow.
Today, somehow only Tyagaraja is coming to my mind.
It's fantastic. Yeah. It's absolutely brilliant.
Tere means Tera in screen. Tere in Sanskrit or Telugu, Kannada, they all mean screen. Yes. Remove the screen. That is the screen of ignorance.
Yes.
Raja is telling, please remove the screen of ignorance.
Yes. And there's a composition by Kabir Das, Bhagat Kabir. By the way, one of South Asia's finest Sufi singers and folk musicians, Janab Riaz Ali Qadri from Kabula Sharif in Pakistan. He serves there. He's sending you regards. He's joined. He was in a conversation a few days back, so he sends you his regards as well. Kabir Saab's composition is very beautiful too. He says, "Dekho bhai gyan ki aayi aandhi." Look, brothers, look, friends, the storm of knowledge is arriving. Or has arrived. Dekho bhai gyan ki aayi aandhi has arrived. Sabe udani bharam ki tati rahe na maya bandhi. It has blown away all the veil of ignorance, and now I'm no longer. Like the tent is the parda, like the veil. And Rahena Maya Bandhi, the Maya, the strings of Maya that held it so tight, they're all, it's freed from that. It goes, it's in, and again in Vrindavani Sarang version. Re ma ba ni pa ma re sa ni re देखो भाई ज्ञान की आई आंधी आंधी is the storm देखो भाई हाँ देखो भाई ज्ञान की आई आंधी देखो भाई सब उड़ानी भरम की टाटी रहे न माया I'm forgetting the composition anyway. It'll come to my mind. This is somewhere else now, the Gaudi. But Rahe na Maya Bandhi. It's very similar to what Tyagaraja is mentioning. Please tell us the text. Share us the text of Tyagaraja.
Yeah, but I can tell you. Can I take the book? I'll take the book and.
Just as much as you remember. You can get the book as well. Yes, please. देखो भाई हाँ देखो भाई ज्ञान की आई आंधी देखो भाई सब उड़ानी भ्रम की टाने रहना माया बांधी हम गिराटे रहना माया बांधी हो. I'm trying to recall this. रवरानी भ्रम गिराटे रहना माया बांधी हाँ रहना माया बांधी. I'm trying to recall it. It's a beautiful composition my elder granduncle Bhai Arjan Singh taught me, and then he only remembered the Asthai, and the stanza was taught to me by Bibi Jaswant Kaur. She also studied from him when she was a child.
Mm-hmm. And the song is, I was mentioning, this is Teradiyaka Radaloni Tirupati Venkata Ramana Matsaramanu. Lord Tirupati Venkata Ramana, cannot you lift the wheel of jealousy in me? It prevents me from attaining the fourfold blessings of right conduct, taintless wealth, genuine love for humanity, and the fourth one is unalloyed devotion to God.
Wah, wah, wah.
The wheel of jealousy, Matsaram.
This one is veil of jealousy. That one is veil of ignorance. Wah, wah.
Yeah. My eyes are being
actually, that was
blind.
Bharam is illusion. I think Bharam is illusion, not ignorance only. Duchiti is a duality also. And that Kabir's metaphor is very, very interesting. But anyway, please continue. Yeah. Veil of jealousy. What a composition.
And my eyes are being blinded by the evil of jealousy. Knowing this, Tyagaraja seeks to act in consonance with your will. Can you not lift the wheel?
So it's almost like the prayer that precedes Kabirji's song. So if you were to sing that one, please come and remove it. And then when the storm has come, then there's Kabir Saab's. There's the different stages caught in time now. It's beautiful. I'm richer. I also have now a prayer that calls the storm to come.
And I wanted to ask you, who said the ragas to these songs?
Oh,
Who said the?
yes, in the Guru Granth Sahib is the only sacred scripture where the gurus, the authors, all of them sang in the ragas. Like the compositions that I shared with you, 16th century, are the original compositions that have survived of the gurus themselves.
But
In the Guru Granth, they are all written in this raga and then the composition. Yes.
as early as in the 16th century.
Yeah. Guru Nānak, they all sang. Bhagat Kabir as well. Yeah, Bhagat Kabir, Bhagat Ramanand, Bhagat Ravidas, Bhagat Namdev. I have the originals, all of these, yes. Some examples have left. And
I think they must be available on the palm leaves or the manuscripts.
no, they were, Guru Granth as such was written, fortunately for us, is the only sacred scripture. There's no other, Christianity. The Bible was not originally written by Christ. Neither was the Quran written by Hazrat Muhammad. Neither was the Torah. They were all written by later. Ramayana was not written by, Gita was not written by Krishna. They were written later by others, right? But Guru Granth, the Guru Granth is one scripture which is actually authored by the Gurus themselves. And
I know,
the raga names are given, and the Aprabhamsh or the original compositions are remembered by like my ancestor was a direct disciple of Guru Nānak.
Handed over from generation
Yes,
to
yeah.
generation.
So we have had now over 5 centuries of music in my family. Like the original
oral tradition.
Yes, oral tradition, yes. And a very serious pedagogy.
And you are not at liberty to change the tune.
No, we don't. No. We can compose our own. It's not forbidden. But we have a particular etiquette of singing the original without changing. At times we don't even improvise in them, or we do it later in a second section. When we sing the composition, we would not do it. If I may give an illustration, my voice is really dead. I shouldn't be singing. But just to give you an idea of how a composition from that time would be, in particular, now that you ask. Let's see. Can you hear the Tanpura as well? I'm trying this microphone system for the first time today. So you're my guinea pig. Experiment. I hope it works. I'll get a nasty feedback by some of our regular friends.
You're doing quite well.
Okay. But they will accuse me that we will be praising each other anyway because we are in conversation with each other. You know how the accusers, our critics can be. They can be very naughty, deliberately so. Even if they like it, they will say, oh, it was okay. Then you have to coax them, was it really okay? Then you become very sad. Then they will say, no. Then they will see Bhai Baldeep Singh heartbroken. Then they will try to say, no, it was very nice actually.
It's okay, we are mutually enjoying the session. I'm learning.
No, I'm learning so much. I'm reminded of a composition of, what can I sing? Let me go to Bhagat Namdev. Let me give an illustration of Bhagat Namdev. Little difficult one, and Rag Gaund. Pure Gaund without Gaund Sarang, Gaund this, Gaund that. Just pure Gaund, which is very rare again. Goes something like that. And this original Moko Tarale Rama Tarale Moko Tarile Rama Tarile. I mean, take me across, fathom me across. Main ajan jan tarbe na jano. That I am an ignorant fellow who knows not to swim across. Baap bithada bahade. Oh, the father support. Give me your hand. Hold my, extend your arm. And he sang it in Gaund. This is how it has been remembered, as my eldest granduncle Bhai Arjun Singh taught me. This is the original of Bhagat Namdev. And they say the analysis of the mutualism was that he's desperate. He's really calling out far. Otherwise, Moko tarle Rama tarle. It could have been this, but he says the intensity is Moko tar. It's a prayer. Dikhad is the mandal of the hell, as you say, is a fire. Ta that I'm drowning, I'm dying, I'm desperate. So please fathom me across. And the journey from hell to heaven is Dikhad is separated from the mandal of Nirankara. The mandal of Nirankara, that is the mandal of Omkara, as the elders would tell. Moko tarle Rama tarle, Moko tarle Rama tarle, मैं जन जन तरवे न जानो, मैं अजान जन तरवे न जानो, बाप बिठला बांधे मोको तार ले रामा तार ले, मैं अजान जन तरवे ना जानो, बाप बिठला बांधे मोको तार ले रामा तार ले. And the stanza, जहाँ जहाँ धूल नारद टेका नक टेका वो मोहे, जहाँ जहाँ तू नारद टेका नक टेका वो मोहे, तेरे नाम अवलंब बहुत जन उदरे, नामे की निज मत मोको तार ले रामा तार ले. This is Bhagat Namdev, and there is there are others, but if I may give an illustration of Bhagat, Kabir is a beautiful composition. In Asa it's in 8 beats, Talwara, but rarely sung now, that kind of 8 beats. मेरी मत बारी मैं राम बिसारियो, किन बिद रहन रहो रे, किन बिद रहन रहो रे. And the stanzas go in the Sancharya. Yes, please. And the stanzas goes very uniquely. You were saying something?
It's so beautiful, the rag.
Yes, Asa is originally as sung by Kabir and as remembered in the Gurbani tradition as the original of Kabir.
What did you say the name? What did you say the name
Asa,
of the rag?
Asa, Asa.
Oh, well,
A-S-A, A-S-A,
A-S-A.
Asa, yeah. Yes, Asa. Asa Saki, Haji, yes.
The earlier one was Behab or Behab itself.
That was Rag Gaund. That was Rag Gaund. Gaud. We call it Gaund
Yes,
as well. It's Gaud also called, yeah.
Okay. And it sounded like Behab to me.
Yes, it's similar structure, but it's that's like there's but then it changes too. Yes, the Bihag, the way we sing is we in Gurbani originally we have Bihagda. Bihag came for us. It's later raga. It's derived from Bihagda. Or Bihagda, basically Bihag. More intimate Bihag is Bihagda. Because in Punjab, Mukh becomes Mukhda, Dukh becomes Dukhda. Anything more intimate is Ra, it adds Ra. So Bihagada, the way it goes is ma pa ma da ga ma ga sa ga ma pa ni da ni sa ni da pa ma da ga ma ma ga re sa ga ma pa ni sa re ni da pa ma da ni da pa ma ga. This is Bihagada, and Bihag is sung with both madhyams or with only one madhyam. Both versions are there.
We have both madhyams.
Also,
here.
yes. So the one we mainly sing is that, but there is a tradition in the north which is only utilizes only one madhyam as well. For example, my granduncle used to sing very beautifully the Bihag. And the tan that you mentioned about, which is Bihag like in the gaon. Har teer mere man prem lagao. Har teer mere man Hari darshan ka mera man bahut tapte jyot khavant bin neer mere man prem lagao har teer. This is for example, just to give an idea about how the yes, Guru Arjan's composition, if I may, just to give you the last illustration, then I want to come back to listen to the Veena, of course, and we want to talk about your dad and the pedagogy. Again, composition which we don't touch, we don't temper with it, and all the exercise, all the alankaras that we learn, as my granduncles would say, is not to display, not to display the skill, but it is to be able to learn how to render the original compositions without changing them. That's why we need to learn all the alankaras. That if there's a composition which uses a certain alankara, somewhere leg, doran, boran, whatever, some form of gamaka, we should be able to render it so that we don't change the composition. So that's the etiquette with which we were taught. Mori jaye, mori jaye. 12 beats. Ha then ta, da then ta, ta tika tika tika. Ha then ta, da then ta, ta tika tika tika. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Mori jaye, mori jaye. Mori jaye, mori jaye, darshan pavat hi, mori jaye. That my ego goes away the moment I see the darshana. My ego, mori ja. And this is the mantra, big aham ja, ego go. Aham jaye, jaye, mori jaye, ja. That's how this is. Sooth should move away. See the pattern, the education. Mori jaye. Gather, mori. Hey, my whole ego goes. Mori jaye, mori jaye. दर्शन पावत है राजोनाथ ही सहाय सौंदना अब चरण गए मोरियों जाए मोरियों आए मन और न भावे चरनावे उलझे आलम करौंद कमल ज्यों अनरस नहीं चाहे करला है मोरियों जा. This is the first stanza. Ahe man avarana bhava. To this mind nothing else now pleases or entices. Ahe man avarana bhava. Charanave. It is now at the feet, at the refuge, in the feet. Ulajheo al makarand jo. as the Alakamala, as the viper, you know, the sort of what you call the almost like that plant which engulfs the whole tree, like that you know, the what do you call it? I'm forgetting the name. Yes, like a bale. It is like a bale. It is like a long. It just goes endless. It starts growing. It grows without roots. It goes traveling. No, just engulfs the tree. It says it is now entangled like that. My mind is now entangled. Okay, my mind is now, you know, sort of grown at the feet. Is entangled. You cannot now know the tree different from that you know, bale. Creeper, yes, thanks Gurpreet. The creeper, I was wondering why the name is coming. I'm somewhere else right now. Aaye manayavra bhave, aaye manayavra bhave, charanave, ulajheyo alamagaramde. Now all they would say, learn the gamakas so that you're able to render it properly. उलझेयो आलमगरंद कमल ज्यों अनरस नहीं चाहे करला है मोरियां जाए मोरियां अनते टूटिए. The third part. अनते टूटिए रिखते छूटिए अनते टूटिए रिखते छूटिए मन हर रस कूटिए संग साधु उलटिए आनन आई नाई रे नानक प्रीत चरण चरण हे मोरिया. So this, just to give you 2-3 illustrations of, because it's a new idea. People after 47 people have forgotten the Gurbani Sangeet tradition, which is, you know, Bhagat Jayadeva. Maybe this might surprise you. He's the oldest author of Guru Granth. Can you imagine? 1170 born Bhagat Jayadeva is the oldest author, and 3 years younger to his Baba Sheikh Farid, the Sufi master. He is the second oldest author of Guru Bani. It's in over 24 languages and many dialects, which number about 120 languages and dialects. That's Guru Granth, the ambit. And all of the authors sang their Bani and they noted their ragas. And Guru Arjan has, you know, only recorded them as they were without changing them. But of course, we have the freedom to compose, because if we are analyzing a raga versus another, which is not present in the Guru Granth, we still, to understand one raga, we may have to study maybe 8, 10, 15, 20 other ragas. So those compositions were also used to sing the text, so that as a comparative analysis, yes. My apologies for a longish answer to your, you know, query.
Right. And also, the Asa is also a beautiful raga.
Yes. Asa Mand is very close to Asa, but they are uniquely different as well. And now to come to the pedagogy part, when you, you know, were learning from your father, how was it?
It used to be very difficult, I tell you, and he wouldn't allow me to touch the veena. I had to sing.
I see.
For example, the compositions I demonstrated, I have learned from him, and he never wanted me to play it on the veena in the first place.
I see.
I had to sing, and sing it as it is taught to me, and then only he will ask me to try it on the veena. Today, my singing is. If you have liked it, you have liked my singing, it is because of my father, who made me sing 100 times.
Wonderful,
you know, before. So that was it, and always he used to say, sing 100 times before you touch the veena.
I see.
That's how I was taught. And I wanted to play ragas when I was about 16, 17 years of old. I wanted to play the ragas. He used to discourage me.
I see.
Yeah, still time. God has blessed you with long life, you learn more compositions.
I see.
That's what he used to tell me. He used to discourage. And then when I started playing the raga slowly, he went on giving me the subtle tips which are required there, and that was it. And actually nobody can teach you to play the raga, isn't it?
I agree.
He used to play, I had to listen, and I had to improvise on my own.
Yes.
And whenever I played a phrase, or what you call the sangati, like him, he used to say, don't copy. Then people will say, you are just a carbon copy of your father. No, don't play that. Try different things. And that used to be a greater challenge for me.
Yes.
And if I don't do it, he would scold me. I had a tough time. The initial years was so difficult. And sometimes I keep telling my students, thank God he is dead and gone.
That's so
and
beautiful. Yes.
In concerts, when I started accompanying him, he never used to tell me what are the compositions he is going to play, what ragas he is going to play, and where he is going to play the raga Tana Pallavi. It's a very difficult branch in Carnatic music, where I had to accompany him, where I had to keep silent. He never used to say. And I used to go there and come back home badly bruised after the concert. And it used to be a different experience. I used to learn. I learned more while I played concerts with him, more than learning at home. On the concert stage, I learned more from him. And finally, I think I was around 35 years of age. I didn't want to take any risk. And I once asked my father, and what raga should I play today? We had a concert that evening. I asked him, and why can't you play whenever I leave you, whenever I give you an opportunity on the stage, you should be able to play. Why do you want to know now? He used to ask me. No. I don't want to take risk anymore. I am 35. I want to do some justice. And then he relented a little, and he told me. From then onwards, I made it a habit. Today, what should I play?
I see. Now this is very,
So
this is very
old tradition.
Yes. You see,
Everything music happen.
Yes.
Sorry, music should happen on the dais. It is not something which you mug it up and go there and play for the audience. It should be fresh. Everything has to be fresh. That was the most difficult thing. And he always took great risk.
Reminds me of my granduncle telling me of Baba Jwala, my great-granduncle. He would say that whenever somebody would ask, how does this rag go, maestro or Bapuji? They say, tomorrow morning at 4 in the morning, I will start singing for 5 hours. So if you want to learn how to learn the ragas, come and sit with me on the stage itself. That is the place you actually learn the raga and the compositions. That's how he used to be too. That's another something very, very similar. And with the raga system, with the alap and the opening up of the raga, I was forbidden to copy him, to ape him. My teachers, all of my teachers, in fact, I was very fortunate to have all of them. But they would say, if I have left somewhere, what you render is not what I have just rendered. What you should learn is to render the next line. What would it be? If it is Anād Gurū then the next line has to be the next progression of it. So that he says you've heard it. So you know how I've rendered it, But if you were to come in between, you to render the next line. Is that how your father also expected, that you're not repeating what he just said, but you have to carry the boat forward, carry the journey forward in a way?
And that's how one learns to create.
Yes.
He wanted me to be creative.
Yes.
That's why that was his method of teaching, and he was a very difficult, tough taskmaster. Sometimes this used to go out of tune, and I used to have the hell of a time. This tuning has to be very perfect, and I shouldn't be wasting my time tuning the Veena. Everything has to be perfect, and he used to give a dirty look on the dais. Very tough time, and somehow I put, because I wanted to make a mark myself.
Yeah. If I may share with you an intimate space, very, very, very personal to me. My grand aunt passed away, and my younger granduncle, Bhai Baldeep Singh, his wife, Bibi Amar Kaur, the first time he asked me to do alap or improvise in a composition is on the day of the cremation. At night we are all singing, or I think maybe a day or two later, when he called me, he says, "What are you doing tomorrow night?" I said, "Well, I will do what you would want me to do." He says, "You're singing tomorrow night." And both of my granduncles are sitting there in session, they're sitting next to me, and I'm like frightened, of course, and I'm singing a composition in Jajavanti. And for the first time in my life is when he asked me, "Now do alap in it." Then for the first time. And I was taken aback, and I just did a little bit, but he blessed me afterwards. He caught me by surprise, because we were all very, very, it was a very sad time for us. I was a very dear grandaunt of mine. And his wife, it was just 2-3 days ago. Before that, we had only, offered her to the pyre. And that is when he asked me to improvise. Before that, he never asked me to even open up a composition. So this is how extraordinary time. You were lucky. You said, "Hey, I'm 35 now. You have to tell me." I think you were lucky out of us two.
I was desperate. I wanted to do a good job on this in the evening. So I asked him, and it was a very important dais, I think, in those days. And I just wanted to do justice, somehow make my presence felt. So I was bold enough to ask him, and he thought, okay, this man deserves some concession. And
that's your interpretation. I wish I was there to ask him, why did you relent finally? and
they never pampered in those days.
Yeah, no.
Like parents of those generation. Around the same time, he told me, "Your playing is okay."
I see.
I was 35. Mind you. He told me, "You are okay." After learning for 25 years, he told me, "You are okay."
How did it feel? Because I think it was in '96 at Nanded in Hazur Sahib in Maharashtra, when I was not supposed to sing there. I'd just gone to document and do some research with it was a big event to do with Gurbani, and I was suddenly asked by Baba Sucha Singh to say, "Hey, one singer didn't come. Actually, many had not come, but one particular one was to sing Rag Nat Narayan." And he says, "Why don't you sing that? Because we need someone to sing that. Otherwise, our rasam of doing all the 31 ragas of Guru Granth would be incomplete." I said, "Okay," I relented. So I sang, and my granduncle came and watched. And I thought I did a very good job of rendering the composition. I was supposed to only render the composition, no improvisation, nothing, right? Just brief, very small alapti, the rasam, which I am supposed to sing the original composition of Guru Ram Das, which is the 3rd quarter of the 16th century, original composition. I was not supposed to do any joke with it or with it, any variation, no stunt baji in it. I thought I did a very good job. So finally, I was like, 27, 28, 28. I thought, wow, I think I did a good job. My assessment was very high. And when I came and when I saw him after getting down, there was a little brisk walk. I almost approached him. I thought finally he will say, bravo boy. And he says, and he, Betya, halle kasar hai. Kasar means there's a lot that lacks still. Betya, child, there's still, kasar hai. It's not there yet. And then it was 7 years later when he said to me after the Guru Manav Granth thing that I helped produce the Delhi government at the Talkatora Stadium in 2004, just days before my father passed away. And they all came, both my granduncles are there, and afterwards he hugged me and he says, Betya, charo pave pure ho gaye aaj. All the four, legs of the chair, and all the four legs are complete now. So, I mean, how was it for you? For me, these are like very powerful moments in my life when from utter disapproval to sort of disapproval, not there yet, to shabash betya, aaj pave pure ho gaye. How was it like for you?
And same here also, and I felt so good. I felt more confident. I wish he had told this a little earlier. But I think he was quite satisfied.
That's beautiful.
He used to listen to my playing on the All India Radio regularly whenever I played, and he used to offer his comments and where I had to improve and where it was quite good, and why I faltered. He used to explain what was the defect, what made me make that mistake, and he used to tell me if there was some mistake in playing the raga. He used to tell me, play this composition again 10 times. You'll get the
that arkan, that part of it. I see.
Better. Why don't you play this composition of Dikshita? You play it 5 times at least. You will learn the raga.
Right.
Those were invaluable moments. And he never recommended my name to any organizer. That was another thing. I was always keen on playing. At 25, you can imagine how a man will be.
Yeah.
And then I hardly used to get opportunities. And I used to have, sometimes I used to ask him, why can't you write a letter? Not directly. I used to tell my mother, I have not played in this sabha. So many of them, they are all playing. I have not played. I have not been called. So why don't you tell Daddy to put in a word? And sometimes she used to help me. He never. In fact, my father's contemporaries, his friends used to tell him, see, you mention always youngsters should be given opportunities. You mention everyone except Balakrishna.
I see.
And he was so principled, I tell you, and I used to feel frustrated. And finally, when his friends started telling, no, you should tell his name also. No, you will never do that. Why don't you tell his name also? He's quite good. He won't let you down, man. Why don't you tell him? Why don't you tell the organizers his name also? Isn't he good? He's quite good. He will surpass you. So the friendly, they used to tell him, and he has recommended also. Only the later stages.
Yeah.
That was the kind of training and.
When I was in the Sangeeta Academy, in the executive, and between 2009 and 14, 8, 9 and 14, we had this many awards. So one of my students, Parminder Bhamra, he deserved the Bismillah Khan Puraskar many years ago. And all my friends and colleagues would would say, well, you should recommend him. He's outstanding. He's topped the Kathak Kendra diploma 5 years and so on and so forth. But we've heard him. He plays the Punjab Baj and so on and so forth. I said, I am not, as long as I am in my entire tenure, I will not get out of the meeting because my student's name is, he's not even related to me. But even he's my student, I will not walk out of the meeting, which means that I will not allow his name to be considered. Because the stigma of being in the General Council and in the executive of the committee and have my student get an award will be too much for me to bear for the rest of my life, because I grant him knowledge, not inam, not honors. So it is how, I'm so moved by having an elderly reference, from your dad, that the kind of people call me crazy, because everybody does that. Everybody nominates their friends, their students, and they would ask each other. So if me and you were in the committee together, you would tell me, hey, BBS, Bhai Baldeep, that's my student. Can you nominate him? And I'll nominate your student. They would cross-nominate. That's a kind of a thing. But we who have been fortunate and cursed both at the same time, as I said, we've had to live the tougher terrain. There was no compromise. They never relented. I think they never lowered the bar. They wanted the bar to be where it should be at, and we had to jump, and finally cross over, if at all, if it came. They had no daya in this case. They had all other daya, but in the sense of passing of knowledge.
We should, he always said, I should deserve and desire.
Wow.
First I should deserve and desire. And everything should come to you on your merit. And he was in the he was a member of the Sangeet Natak Academy, Central Sangeet Natak Academy. He never, the 3 years, I think, the term is 3.
5 years. 5 years, yeah.
Never once he had mentioned my name. It was Professor T.N. Krishnan who made me play in the Sangeet Natak Academy.
I see.
Professor T.N. Krishnan, the great violinist,
yeah.
I should be grateful to him. He made me, he recommended my name to be featured in the Vadyotsav in somewhere in the 90s, early 90s, 1991. He made me play in Delhi.
I see.
And I didn't know. And he was so great, he never told me, I have told your name, you go and play. Right. He never said. Yeah. It was much later, after my father had passed away, somewhere in the early 2000, 2002 or 2003, he met me once. I had recommended your name. You remember you played in Vadyotsav? I only told your name. Touching.
Very beautiful. Yeah. So coming to your dad's, teaching, do you remember the first composition he taught you? The one he taught you to sing? Come on. You have to try harder. Try to recall.
It's very difficult.
Is there a memory of a raga that you think he taught you first?
He taught in the sense, he used to play and I had to follow him.
The very first, when you were little, like the very first ones, when you said that before the instrument came, you had to remember the compositions.
Yeah, when one of the earlier compositions was in Rag Shri Ranjini.
I see.
Not exactly, I don't remember which was the first song.
I see.
Honestly, I don't remember.
I see.
One of the earlier, in my childhood, maybe I was 14, 15, he taught me one composition in Shri Ranjini. This is again Tyagaraja.
I see.
This is the song. Bhuvini dasu na na la 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 Bhuvini dasu dani I thought I was the greatest servant of God.
I see.
That was the ego I had. The Tyagaraja is telling. I am the greatest bhakta of Lord Rama. That is the text of the song. And he goes on explaining and
Wow.
this earlier.
It's the earlier one.
And after that, I must have learnt around 200 compositions before starting to play raga.
I see.
And I used to try when he was not around. Stealthily, I used to play some of the ragas.
I see. Did you get caught?
I would break my fingers. So the old time ideas, you know. Nowadays, everything is available at the fingertips. People go to YouTube and learn ragas. You go to YouTube.
The world has really changed. They're learning life from a fossil. How sad it is, isn't it? They're learning how to live from a fossil.
Fossil, yeah.
And so, which raga attracted you first?
That again, yeah. Once he asked me to play a raga.
I see.
When he won, finally, the raga called Bilahari.
I see.
The raga name is Bilahari. And his uncle was there.
Oh.
So they both were sitting, and my father's uncle asked my father to teach me seriously. Why don't you devote more time? This boy seems to have some talent. And my father said, no, I've been teaching, and he has been learning, and I've been teaching. Okay, why don't you make him play some ragas, and why don't you take him to concert? I was 15 or 16, and mind you. He never allowed me to perform on the stage. So when his uncle told him to teach me ragas, both were sitting, and my father asked me to play. Since I had practiced when he was not around, I played this raga Bilahari.
Oh, so he had heard it. So he had caught you.
He hadn't heard it.
Acha, he hadn't.
He hadn't heard it.
I see.
And I played the raga. Something like, it was in a very childish way.
Of course.
like that. So okay, then maybe he thought this boy is ready to learn ragas. So, and because his uncle was also there asking him to teach me, that was when a turning point in my life. He started taking me more seriously also.
I see.
Okay, this boy has got the potential, and he taught the nuances of the raga, and a few more compositions in Bilahari, and that was how I started progressing.
I see. In the north,
it's a beautiful raga.
Yes, it's beautiful. Yeah, in the north we have Gilahari, not Bilahari. I'm joking. Gilahari is a squirrel. I'm just kidding.
It means a student.
No, a squirrel.
A squirrel. I'm just a squirrel in the field of music.
In the north, I'm just kidding that we don't have Bilahari, but we have a Gilahari. Wow, wow, wow. And this actually reminds me of asking you to share with us how, were you made to practice the instrument? How does it, let's say if I want to learn the Veena and you were to teach me as you were taught by your dad, how would you begin and what would be the right hand, the left hand placements, and the scales? Yeah. How do you teach and how does one learn the instrument? Can you show us?
The way they taught in Mysore, because though I was born in Bangalore, Mysore, we came to Bangalore in 1963, and my father used to tell me to play the right hand. He never used me to use the left hand.
I see.
He only taught me the index finger and the middle finger.
I see.
Had to be played. He had to strum the instrument alternatively.
I see.
Like this. Mm-hmm. And the sound has to be well balanced, and our strumming has to be very perfect.
Right.
And he used to, he taught me to play the tala.
I see.
It's gone out of tune.
Mm-hmm.
this was taught. And he used to tell me to show the Aditala on the Veena.
I see.
One, the Aditala of 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. And fifth again. 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This we have to practice for 2 days, 3 days like that. Every day half an hour. And I used to find it so boring. And I think now I understand the importance of all this.
Right.
Beginners, I also tell the students they have to practice. Then only he started the Maya Madhava, the first lesson, the Sarale verse, what they call. And it's Maya Madhava is your Bhairav, Hindustani music.
I see.
And straight notes, no gamaks. It was not allowed.
Yes.
It was not allowed.
The Bij Rupa.
And 3 speeds. This is the first speed. Carnatic music, this is a very important aspect. 3 speeds. Now the first speed. Second. Third. Come back to 1. This went on for months, and there are different exercises like that. Again, second speed. Third speed. Go back to speed 1. Like that. And several exercises, and we were taught to play the Jantai verse, where each swara is played twice in quick succession.
Wow, wow,
This is
wow.
how.
I see.
Until
So this is the exercises like that would be double, and then triplets would also come in, and quadruplets would also come in.
triplets
Would come.
then would be reduce the meats
I see.
and play more swaras, so that you get the akara like.
I see. I see.
Only one meter.
Fantastic. Similar to the Rawab, with one plug. It's very, very moving. I mean, my nails are not there, but if you were to look at this one, for example, the straight aspect is, let's see.
Are you okay with this?
Yeah, yeah. This, for example, also is, I don't know if I can, how I can show. I'm standing, actually it's dangerous to do that, but how will I do? Maybe here. So this one is, for example, and this, if you see this, people have forgotten what is it for. It's again the thumb movement, very ergonomically designed. Look at that. So, or the holding of the palm is kept here. This is this original. We also grow bit of nail. The best sound is again with the nail.
Yeah.
Well, I should actually tune the other strings as well. It's not really important, but I'm just sharing something. So just to, this is all gut strings, huh? These are gut strings.
Guts, yeah.
Guts. So again, this movement, again this finger is like this. I'm noticing how you're doing. So, and then the thumb also, this also comes in.
Yeah.
there, but just I don't want to spend too much time here. Just to give you an idea of how the original, which I've recovered, this all revived. This instrument had died. This is handcrafted by me, by the way. Yeah, it's all single piece. This is all single piece. Even this, all of this is single piece.
What wood is
this?
This
is Nagpur teak. So look at the ergonomic, the old, just bare hands, nothing else. So it's again. So this is. So it's again this pluck is also very with this my this and then this second finger, this one, and then so the thumb and the second finger pluck and this. So these are two sums we use. My nails are very short, as you can say. They are just not really the nails for the rabab. I don't know. Fretless. Pardon the notes, it's not there yet, but these are all gut strings. My nails are slipping because they're round, they're not flat, as the groove's not there.
It needs application.
Pardon?
Have you played this in concerts? Have you?
Say that again? No, this is just part.
No.
I've never had the chance, but I'm planning to. I'm recovering the instrument, and I just have to behave. My finger. I'm really, my hands are like totally without the nails. But just to show you. Maybe to express how overjoyed I am looking at the because when me and Saraswati we were doing work, the rabab was not yet. This one was not yet finished by me in 2007-8. It was the smaller one, which you can see the painting there. That is me with the painting of the rabab. This is the original of Ustad Basat Khan, which is with Somjit Das Gupta in Kolkata, the student of Radhika Mohan Moitra. He was a direct descendant of Mian Tansen, Ustad Basat Khan. And it was the collection of Radhika Mohan Moitra. Then I made replicas of that instrument, 2 of them. And so at the time, Saraswati seen Somjit, me working together. But that is we played with the jeel. Also played with the fingers, but it's a little narrower fretboard. This is the replica of Guru Arjan Dev's rabab, as remembered by one of our old families, like my family is very old from the first Guru times. Bhai Sahib Bagdiya's family in Bhai Rupa village, the descendants of Bhai Roop Chand, one of the very, very important Sikhs of the Gurus. They have the original Rabab of Guru Arjan as it is remembered by the family. So this one is a replica of that Rabab. And it's a broader one. And of course, when I was doing research with Gyani Harbhajan Singh, who was also 1920 born like your dad, and who actually taught me the art of instrument making. And I was a champion aero model. I used to make aero models and win competitions and so on and so forth. That ability to work with the wood came handy. So the playing technique of how it was, the instrument, they say, begins without any tool. It is just you and the instrument. And both use of the skin and then also the bit of nail, the way it does. And I did not, with the gut strings, we keep almost like that it strikes this, it's like a tangent which is created. The way the memory I have, my nail is, for example, this short. It should just be, it's like 2 millimeters shorter, 2.5 millimeters approximately short. And yours is, of course, it's longer, and I think it's also metal strings, is it? You don't, in the Mysore tradition, you also use metal strings.
All Veenas.
All Veenas,
No,
okay. So I thought, I've seen Saraswati, she was, in fact, she's listening, she sends her regards to both you and me also, but I think she's sarcastic when she sends regards to me. Because I always fight with her, she eats all the dosas alone and never invites me anymore. But this is...
my regards to her.
Well, I think she's listening. I will not be your postman.
No. Is she still listening?
She should be.
I don't think so. Maybe she has felt bored. She has heard.
Well, she better listen because I'm torturing her on Monday. Part of the conversation. She'll be joining me on Monday.
We have heard each other enough.
I think she's fed up of me too, not you. So this is fantastic. So coming back, my apologies. In fact, I didn't mean to interrupt your display of how the practice is done. If you can then tell us about it was fantastic for me and similar. As I see that both the Gurbani, as I've said, Gurbani Sangeet and the Carnatic Sangeet are unaffected by the music that was happening in the Mughal court or the state or the darbar, as we say, darbari music. They remained sovereign, and the bhakti and the Sufi and the Guru's tradition, it was this amalgam of all three of them, memory of all three silsilas or the systems. Our raga handling, which amazed. In fact, I have enjoyed singing along with, for example, Saraswati. When I went to the States to teach a credit course at the Hofstra University in 2008. She came along, and for me it was much closer to hear the alankaras being rendered as we have rendered in the Gurbani tradition. The movement, for example, even the Tivra Rikhab would move. If I may render, like as man pae kai aap gavaye kai kar sadhan syo sam sang sam. This is rare. You don't hear song re sa ra na re ri no sang. ऐसे रे मन पाए कै आप गवाए कै कर साधन स्यो सांग. So Saraswati has just lied. She's such a liar. She says, Balakrishna ji, I am enjoying your conversation. So this must be a lie, is it? So this, for example, was very shocking for me when we're just laughing once, okay, let's try to do something together. And when I rendered the the Mangala Charan, and there she was, you could hear. And then in the US later on, when I've had to do with the Indian embassy, where you cannot import people from outside, not even from another city, somebody has to be local. And I've enjoyed, in fact, more than what the other instruments in the north, be it Dilruba or Sarangi, they don't have the original idea which is there, which I recovered from the Gurbani Singhi tradition. And I think the movement, the ragas, the notes of a raga much more fluid but rooted. That means they have the whiff of air and the branches, the swagger of the notes still exists in both the traditions. It's something that I really have enjoyed in that. So tell us about the typical Mysore tradition, how it is different from the other style of playing, if you can, please.
In Mysore, my father and Veena Sheshana, Venkatagiriyappa, they always thought it should be a blend of both Gayaki and instrument.
I see.
This style. We should show the Veena, the possibilities of the Veena also. That's what Sheshana did, Venkatagiriyappa, my father, and I still continue to do the same thing. Here we don't exactly, we play the vocal style and also we show the possibilities of the Veena.
I see. Because in any case, you're playing the kritis, all that you've sung as what you have played, and equally that's emulating of the song itself. But then there is the instrument as well. And just before you continue, allow me to Saraswati, if you're listening, tell me what can I ask him so that he gets tortured. Tell me a question difficult, because I think he's having a very easy time with me. Am I? Oh, come on. I don't know if I have to take it as a compliment or not. I hope I'm not troubling you. Please. Yes, you were telling. Yeah.
You were asking something?
No, she will take time to scribble. She will think. I was just basically asking if she would like me to, if she has any farmaish as such, a raga that she enjoys listening. If she has a request for you, would be great. So she will, I think, momentarily she will write. Yeah.
Okay. And the left hand fingers are also given a lot of work in the Mysore techniques.
I see.
For example, to negotiate fast phrases. In Sri Ranjini. We keep the fingers separate so that you are able to negotiate faster passages. Sanidama. This is one important. This technique is very handy. And the strings are we play on both the strings because the timbre is different. This is typical Mysore.
I see.
Na, la, 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 na. While singing, like that.
Wow.
That's how my father used to play.
I see.
The same technique. This keeping the fingers separately, middle finger and index finger, that is the only thing that it helps you.
This is the dut ang when we say for example, there's Mēlā gali. It's an ancient composition from the fifth Guru. Kaho Mēlā gali. Within the part of the composition, so very, very beautiful. Yes, that Anād. And before you go there, I see that the distance is which basically holds your habit now has formed of 1 fret distance. You can do with the finger without doing anything. You're become your natural mudra now, is it? Very ergonomic. And you don't use the third finger as such. There's the 2 finger.
Third fingers we use. For example,
I see for that, for different strings.
like the guitar.
Yes.
Sheshana used to do it.
I see.
I don't know whether he had seen a guitar, but he used to do. And for example, the little finger also.
I see.
And the effect is beautiful.
Beautiful, yes.
Beloved.
Yes.
Chakravarna. All the 4 fingers we use.
I see.
And Malcolm's. Na na ra 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 ra. This is all the instrumental techniques, and that's how if you blend vocal and instrumental techniques, the concert can be interesting. For nearly 2 and my father used to play 3.5 hours solo. 4 hours he used to play. The audience used to sit in rapt attention for 4 hours. So they have to make it interesting.
Yes.
They can't afford to make it monotonous.
Yes.
So they had different techniques, and the Mysore style comes in very handy, very handy. And also the
Wow. Wow.
No, my father used to play like this, pulling inflection of these strings. Ni, zari, ni, all the three swaras in ni itself.
Wow. Fantastic.
So that is Mysore techniques. Kamach.
Fantastic. No, this is beautiful. So I know it's been almost 3.5 hours, and I'm not done yet. Can I request you to? Do you need a break? A short break before I request you to choose a raga that you have. That somehow is the closest to you these days. And
No. Don't you think we had done it for long?
no, we go for very many hours long. We can go for the whole night.
No. It's a bit too much for me. I think.
Is it? Would you?
I hope I won't be rude if I ask. We can conclude somewhere here.
Yeah. So, would you like to? Would you be able to play something to end with, or shall we conclude now? Here and now means now.
No, no, no. I will conclude with the Tilana
Yes,
composed
that's what I
by.
was thinking, that to end in the end today is what I was requesting you. Exactly that, something that is dear to you these days and that you can share to conclude the conversation. Yes, of course.
I hope Saraswati has spared me.
Yeah,
She hasn't put.
yeah, I think if I can tease her back, maybe she's then afraid of your counter request. So that's why she's not. Wow, wow, wow. That's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so, so, so very much.
I got to know you so much, and we should thank Shivu. It was Shivu who mentioned my name to you, and
No, not at all.
ah,
I'm kidding. I'm just teasing him. Yes.
it's okay. Why not?
Yeah. Shivu is the one to. I thank him actually. I was discussing with him about.
I told him, I sent a message also, and it was so great talking to you, and you are so knowledgeable.
Oh. I wish I could. I knew something about music. I'm just an ignorant fellow.
Just being humble.
I miss the teachers. I mean, I wish my granduncles were here now. I have so much to ask them. I think my ability to ask questions or the right questions has just about become or come into being, and I don't have them. So it's a very sometimes it's eye-watering when I think about some of the music that has gone missing, and I don't know. I could give everything that I have to have one meeting with them, to be able to receive further guidance and more knowledge. How do you feel that sometimes? Do you miss the presence of, because I think I'm like I'm an orphan in a way. All my elders have gone. My eldest granduncle, he died a year and a half, 2 years ago, at the age of 102. So I'm now an orphan. So I miss knocking on the doors of an elder. So I have to play the role of an elder now, but I have so much to know. I have so much to ask. I've
Like
just
you
learned
said,
how empty I am. how
I'm
ignorant.
still at the definitely. Even I feel so many things which I could have learned when he was alive. And we used to feel maybe asking too many questions, we are bothering him. I hesitated. I wanted to ask so many things, and even now I feel I had a lot to learn from him. If he were to be alive, and like you said, I'm still at the crossroads. I don't know which path to take. There are so many avenues open, and I don't know. I'm not convinced whether I'm taking the right path. That doubt, I think, it will always be there as long as you remain sensitive to the great values we have inculcated from them.
Yes.
That's it.
And those values, I think, become the guiding factors. Yes, they are the guides in a way. Like, and they show us, they help us, yes, in choosing that. I think this is what they would have done.
And
Do they do?
apart from music, what we learned from the great musicians of the yesteryears, including my father, was it is so much necessary to be learning always from others, not only your seniors. Even you can learn from an youngster. He may have some great ideas, and the humility and how to remain humble forever. That's what we were taught.
Wow. Humility is such an important value they gave, yeah. And they cherished that, in fact. The sanskara, the sanskara of being in attendance to an elder is something that we also see amiss these days. And about the frets, these are fixed frets. How do you look at the bij rupa of a different raga? Let's say the malkons, the gandhar is different than a kafi or any other raga. Do you use it from a different string as such to take that intonation, or are you able to, how do you manage that? The different intonations of a swara?
we sometimes we go to the previous fret and
pull. Okay, yes. So you do that. Like you showed your dad, your Professor Iyengar's technique of 3 notes on one, as you showed. Okay.
And Malcolms. Actually,
yes.
This is the Kaishik Nishad, Ni Komal Nishad. I'm playing in Daivata.
Yes.
Like that. And depending on the bhava, the beauty of the raga.
Right. So that's, thank you for that as well. So I cannot thank you enough, really, for taking the time out, and you've been very kind. I know I did mention that these are somehow, we know the time of when we begin, ending is when we feel like ending.
How long it has been now?
It is now 3 hours, 36 minutes and 59 seconds.
Oh no, my God. I think listeners would have been bored by that.
No. They are, when you said maybe it will be rude, they were immediate. Sobia Kapadia from London says, no. Please don't. They're begging. They're all sort of begging. Don't stop. Please continue.
We will do one more on my father.
Yes. In fact, I'm sorry. I will take the credit of requesting you that we have done the centenary of one of India's greatest poets of the 20th century, Dr. Harbhajan Singh. And we have part of that as a YaarAnād Virtual Baithak Series. We are celebrating centenaries of some of the illustrious elders. In fact, I've asked my student Parminder Bhamra, whose maternal granduncle is my teacher who taught me instrument making. So I'm planning also a centenary of that, of Gyani Harbhajan Singh, who was 1920 born and passed away in 2005. So I'm listeners and friends around the world who are listening today and who listen later, that I have actually requested. In fact, Balakrishna ji was very humble and shy. He says, no, maybe it'll be too much. No, I requested him and he's very kindly consented to that we will, one of the Baithak series, maybe in about a week's time or 8 days, we will, I think I've kept maybe next Wednesday or Thursday, I'll share that with you all. So we will be marking the centenary of, Dr. Mysore V. Iyengar, Doreswamy Iyengar. And yes, you were, now you can say. So I begged of you, you kindly consented, so I won't let you get away with that.
No. You asked me to do, I'll do it.
Yeah.
It's my pleasure. It's my pleasure to celebrate the centenary with you.
And your trust is already, marked. This is the centenary year, as I learned that you're already celebrating. What are the events that you've done? I know that it's a lockdown, but have you done something already?
We started in the 100th year. Last August 19 August itself.
Continue until August, yes.
100th year started. He was born on 11th August 1920. So we had concerts, we had exclusive music, Veena concerts, and also there is one organization called the Gana Bharati in Mysore.
I see.
There, a statue of my father, a bust, was unveiled by Pramoda Devi, who is the Rajmata of the Royal Palace in Mysore. She came and unveiled the bust. If you happen to go to Mysore, you can go to that Sabha and see the bust of my father. And I gave a concert there, and recently, on the 7th of March also, we had an elaborate function, and my father has tuned, he has set to music one of the great poets of Karnataka by name Puti Narasimhacharya. He has written musical operas, which I will share. meet. Yeah,
Whoa.
he has, and the music is by my father.
I see.
Uh,
Oh, we have then plenty to work and prepare for.
that also can be done, and you contact Satyavati also.
Yes.
She's an expert on. She has studied deeply the poet's works also. She's the one who had to be talking to.
Yes, yes.
And
We have planned a session with her as well. I'm to call her, me and Shivu have discussed about that already. In fact, I spoke with Professor Ramanathan as well, and he said Shivu is the best person to sort of. So even one of our nation's finest conservation architects, Professor Rabindra Vasavada, who retired from as director conservation at the Sept University, Ahmedabad, he says, hugely quoting him, hugely privileged to witness this Baitak. Namaskar to both of you. So he is also saying, and Sobia joining from, she's from Karachi, but I think she's a lawyer or liar, whatever, I don't know. But they're very similar, no? She says, Balakrishna, she's addressing you. Balakrishna ji, we are a proper audience and trained by BBS, that's me, Bhai Baldeep Singh. Asi nahi thakde hun. He says, we don't tire now. So they're all sort of, they're all very grateful. I mean, I am grateful to you for taking the time out, and I look forward to planning. Sometimes planning is exciting, isn't it? To prepare for is so enriching when we remember and reminisce the contribution of our grand elders. Just to, to discover, open up the treasure chests and see, oh wow, this is what they did too. Oh gosh, this is what they did too. So I'm looking forward to that process to travel in the next days. She corrects me. She says, I'm an architect. I know you are the student of Kamil Khan Mumtaz, one of the greatest architects also. I was being naughty. I think people look forward I look forward to celebrating, to marking the centenary, virtually marking the centenary of Dr. Mysore V. Doreswamy Iyengar, the father of Vidwān D, Balakrishna. And I think we'll plan the day and then share it with everybody. I've already prepared the poster, by the way. I've already prepared the poster, but the date we will.
And I'll give you many photographs can be displayed.
Yes, we will display that. Yes, and then you can tell us the journey. We'll prepare, tell about each photo and so on and so forth. Yes.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Balakrishna ji.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure, really, an absolute pleasure.
Great experience.
And my apologies for my. I usually say that these are conversations, not interrogations. But I think I was like hungry. Asha, what is the Mysore tradition? Tell me this, tell me that, tell me this, tell me that. I hope I was not being trouble.
Not at all. You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes. Namaskar. Yes.
Namaste.
Yes, thank you. Friends, this is my conversation with Vidwān D. Balakrishna. And I know that you all enjoyed it. I have enjoyed it much. And tomorrow we have a very busy Sunday. I can tell you that in the evening at 7, we will have, in fact, my conversation with Pandit, the younger brother, Pandit Sajan Mishra. Pandit Rajan Mishra is in Dehradun. He's not in Delhi, and he's high in the mountains. He's got a Gurukul. I'm now very curious. I knew that they were building something, but I have yet been there. I'm to go there and carry my cameras. But Pandit Sajan Mishra is here in Delhi, and he has very kindly agreed to join us at 7 tomorrow in the evening. And we'll talk about his family tradition, about Varanasi and the journey there. And one of the finest, vocalists in the world. And I have also plans to, me and Anwar Khan Manganiyar, Padma Shri awardee, has also plan to maybe meet at 1 o'clock. But keep an eye on the Facebook page, and the announcements will be made. I'll schedule the events later in the next hours once I'm done here. And I'll be in conversation with the extraordinary sons of Janab Tufail Niazi, Javed and Babar Niazi. We had also planned on Sunday, but as I had not heard yet back because they were planning, they had some other itineraries. There was a call that came of Babar Niazi. I couldn't take it because I was in conversation, so I'll be talking to him soon. So I'm going to be making some adjustments about what we hear. It's going to be a very, very beautiful and a filled Sunday. So I'm owning your Sunday, people. You don't have this Sunday in your calendar. That's mine. So I'll see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the weekend. I mean, whatever is left of it after the battering it receives from at my hands. Lots of love to you guys. Enjoy and be naughty. Be kind. Actually, be unkind and be naughty. Zindagi jiyo janab. Anand vich raho. Khush raho. Khede ch raho. Ami badhajmi kabaj na karya karo. Lots of love to you guys. And until tomorrow, it'll be a very, very dear namaskar. Khuda hafiz. Rab rakha. Vaheguru ji ka khalsa. Vaheguru ji ki fateh. And a very, very, very dear Satkartar.